I think I've spoken to all the guests that I can find. So I think it's time to report to Lord Mortimer. That being said,
Duke Manuel Godoy.
I have absolutely no clue who did it. You can pretty much suspect anyone.
Huh, that's me.
With the exception of His
Monsignor,
Eminence.
His Eminence Cardinal Piaggi.
I think he's not on my list of suspects. Other than that, I don't think George did it. I'm still
President George Washington.
thinking it may well have been a suicide. May well have been my mother. Maybe Jacques, but I don't think so. As I said, that would be way too obvious. That's Elizabeth's room. I think I'm gonna go and talk to Lord Mortimer. Where is Godoy, by the way?
Monsieur Johann van Volner.
Whose room was that? Doesn't matter, I can't go in it. Alright, let's try.
I've come to speak about the findings of the investigation, my lord.
I'm listening, Louis.
I believe I've identified the murderer.
Really, Louis? All right then. Please think carefully before you give me your answer. This is a very, very serious accusation.
I mean, I did say I think personally it was a suicide. God, it could be my mother, sure, but I don't think she would. Like, she may well have come to her room. I'm not denying that, but I don't think she would kill Emily. Kill Elizabeth, sorry. Now, Emily, I can't say what she would be willing to do, but I don't really see any motive on her side. Same goes for her sister. If we go to the male guests, Jacques Peru, he's too obvious, let's be real. I mean, he definitely is suspicious. He's not telling us anything that we want to know. But I really don't think he did it. Von Werner, he could be the murderer. But again, there's nothing really that would be a clue on the scene as to why it would be von Werner. Cardinal Piaggi is just like, there's nothing that would let anyone suspect that it was him. Napoleon again is possible, but I just don't think he did it. Gonna say it was Elizabeth Adams herself.
I believe it was suicide.
Suicide? Louis, I hope you have solid evidence.
She was covered in scars from previous acts of scarification. That proves that she was prone to harming herself. Her suicide was the culmination of this.
What you say makes sense, but it's a little weak. Haven't you anything else?
She overdid the laudanum and the wine, probably to take away her anxiety. She could have decided she couldn't go on and acted while she was not her normal self.
Sounds a bit far-fetched to me, but it isn't without logic. Anything else?
The knife found beside Elizabeth's body had a handprint on it, a slender hand. Without a doubt, the hand of a woman.
And Elizabeth is the only female guest? Come, Louis. Anything else?
It is my conviction that she killed herself.
So she stabbed herself 9 times? Really? That's very hard to believe, Louis. Louis, I'm afraid this is simply not sufficient. This is a serious accusation. I need concrete evidence. That is why I am taking over this case as of now. Right. It's time we spoke about your mother, Louis.
She does what often?
She seems to be making every effort to steer clear of your guests.
What do you mean?
For the past few weeks, my mother's been playing cat and mouse, if you will. I don't know why, but it wouldn't surprise me to learn that she's trying to avoid someone. The question is, who?
And in your opinion, would she be the cat or the mouse?
I'd like to answer the cat, but unfortunately I'm increasingly worried that she's in fact the mouse.
That doesn't make me feel any better, Louis.
What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities, and yours, in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain by working together.
You mean the canon deal with Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him because I have a firm conviction that he can go far.
We shall see. However, there's one thing that surprises me. Did my mother intend to finance a war? I'm not sure that I follow.
No, your mother's aim was not so much to partake in a war, but rather to make Monsieur Bonaparte accountable. France is in turmoil, and having the support of a military man can often come in handy, Louis. You'll see. Once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play, and I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
I see.
Indeed, if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the conference, would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take her seat.
Why not? We shall see.
Thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother informed of what is said. There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
She was looking for someone.
What do you mean?
In Paris, we were working on a smuggling case to do with occult objects. We had just arrested a dealer who intended to go to you to meet a buyer. My mother was here to find out to whom he intended to sell his stolen treasure.
What was the name of your dealer?
The dealer was called von Burchard. As for the buyer, he was unknown to us.
No, I don't know anything about that. There's something I still don't get. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
Her not coming back to the manor after so long makes me wonder if she is wary of someone.
Well, certainly. But whom? The only ones who were present during her stay were Sir Gregory, Duchess Hillsborough, Mr. von Wohler, and myself.
It seems you're close friends. What can you tell me about Sir Gregory?
Gregory? Oh, he's one of those cantankerous old men who hates losing at chess. Is a little eccentric and rather conservative. I'm sure you've met the type.
Well, actually, I don't judge people on how they look.
And you do well not to. What with his manner of continuing to wear makeup as he does, Gregory often gives off an unhealthy image. The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
You seem to know my mother very well, my lord. What did you talk about together?
Oh, as soon as we had a little free time, we liked to share points of view about practically any subject. We would find ourselves embarked on interminable discussions that could go from Monsieur Blanchard's flight in a hot air balloon to the Treaty of Jassy, or the adoption of the metric system in France last year, or even Mr. Eli Whitney's invention in the United States.
Ah, yes. His famous cotton gin. It was supposed to revolutionize cotton production in the United States.
It will revolutionize the world, Louis. The potential of this invention is much greater. Tomorrow, all industries will be switching to simple but large-scale production. Of that, I'm sure.
I'm surprised she didn't get you started on the Crusades. It was her favorite subject.
Are you joking? Sarah and I spent entire days together reliving them. It so happens that the Crusades are also my subject of predilection, especially the third. My ancestor distinguished himself brilliantly during the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Mother lulled my childhood with tales of the Crusades. How Richard the Lionheart and Philip Augustus had to battle it out to achieve their ends. And how Guy de Lusignan, having broken his word, launched the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Oh, I see Sarah's lessons have inspired new enthusiasts. Good on you, because not everyone can claim they know as much at your age. Your mother is a very well-read woman. You're quite lucky to have her as a model, Louis.
Yes, I know, but I'm still very worried.
I must admit, there are worse things to worry about now, Louis.
What do you mean?
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hillsborough's twin sister. And she shot her with a pistol. Then, before Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon? Hang on.
That means my vision on the wharf, it was actually happening inside the manor. Mother shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that?
Excuse me, but between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation. Until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
She would shut herself away in a room we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant to open it.
Thank you.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime, I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Thank you.
The room is just opposite Mortimer's study.
Opposite Mortimer's study. What does that mean? Well, we've got a map, don't I? My room, that's the balcony. What do you mean opposite of Lord Mortimer's study? To me, opposite of that is here. Wait, actually, there was a door here I couldn't get into. Yeah, makes sense. What do we have in here? Alright.
Carmelite water. St. Paul on the road to Damascus by Caravaggio. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior. A fierce opponent of the first Christians, St. Paul is suddenly struck by the call of Jesus Christ and converts. It's the best known conversion in Christian history, which teaches us that even enemies of Christ can be saved, and even become his greatest apostles after finding faith. From what I can recall, the account of his conversion could be found in the epistles to the Galatians, the Philippians, the Corinthians, and the Acts of the Apostles.
Of course, I can't leave the room as always.
Dante's Paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays.
Great. Honey.
Second book of Dante that I found in this manner.
There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is on to us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be? Who could she
Napoleon.
be suspicious of?
Napoleon has a
I
sword.
must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there.
Another coin. In here? No. Well, that's just great.
The door appears to be locked on the other side. I think I heard something fall to the ground. A metallic sound, like a key falling to the floor.
Open sesame.
Let's do the usual. More books.
It's open.
Yes, it is, Louis. Yes, it is.
A chest with the occult symbol representing air.
7. Let's leave that for now. Actually,
A chest with the occult symbol representing air.
more amber fragments is always good. Anything else? No. Alright.
A drawing of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel. The New Testament.
This volume dates from the first edition of Gutenberg. It's the first book that was ever printed. The pages are covered in annotations in Latin, French, and Hebrew. Someone spent years studying this Bible. A volume of the Gutenberg Bible.
Wow, that's a lot to read. Okay, never mind.
I guess I'll just come back later.
St. John is known as the youngest of Christ's apostles. Well, we often give credit to St. John for having written about the apocalypse in the last book of the Bible. It's St. John, painted by Guido Reni. Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. It looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust. Painting of St. Mark from the collection of the apostles by Guido Reni.
A fragment of amber.
St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. Now, what does that mean? So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with the figure, maybe? Of the 4 apostles shown in this piece, Paul is the only one who isn't an evangelist. He is the 13th apostle.
Okay. Let's see if I can find something with 11 in here. There's way too much
I
there,
guess I'll just come back later.
but I don't think I've got anything else in this room. Alright, I'll take a short break and then we're reading through the Bible.